How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at The Coed and the Zombie Stoner. This is from 2014, directed by Glenn Miller, and stars Catherine Annette, Grant O'Connell, and Jamie Noel. Now, this is a movie from the Asylum, or as the top of the box likes to remind us, the dudes that brought us these Sharknado films. And I think this represents an interesting point in the Asylum's history. A lot of people forget that back in the day, the Asylum used to make National Lampoon-style sex comedies. They don't really do that anymore, but with this one, they were trying to combine that idea with an over-the-top horror concept. You like Sharknado? Would you like a zombie stoner? And yeah, none of these other movies really panned out, and I can't help but think that if another franchise had taken off, maybe we would have a modern Asylum that put some effort into their stuff. Sadly, none of them did, and now the Asylum basically makes factory films, but it was really cool to see them put some effort into this. There's a little bit better production, there's clearly a little bit of budget, and there is an effort to tell some entertaining jokes. Yeah, it really doesn't knock it out of the park. The jokes aren't super funny, the zombies are never scary, and the plot is pretty meandering, but you know what? It does plot along with a good sense of energy and levity behind it. The movie knows what it's supposed to do. It tells sex jokes, it tells stoner jokes, and it tells zombie jokes, and it's going to keep that going at a pretty rapid pace. And you know what? If you want a cheesy little movie to spend an afternoon, get a few little chuckles at the antics, it's not a terrible film. It's not great either, and I can see why it didn't become the next Sharknado, but you know, a solid E for effort, and if you just want to chill and watch a stupid movie, it can totally pass in that regard. But before I get ahead of myself, what's the movie about? No major spoilers, but the setup here is that we have this girl. She's a nerdy girl who talks really fast and feels the need to over-explain everything, but she's kind of stuck in her own little world. The thing is, she's in a sorority, and she has to be in the sorority because apparently they're paying for her college. I didn't know that was a thing. But the head of the sorority says sorority girls are supposed to date frat boys, and I'm going to kick you out of the sorority if you don't find a frat boyfriend, which for her will also mean getting kicked out of school because she lost her scholarship. Yeah, I don't think any of this is legal, but this is the kickoff for the movie. Well, she's in the lab late one night when she meets a mysterious stranger, one of the few people that will listen to her talk. Well, it turns out he's a zombie, but by the time she realizes this, she's deeply in love with him. The professor will eventually explain that they were working on an eternal youth project back in the 80s, but it all went wrong and it turned him into a zombie, and he's been hiding in the university ever since. Well, she pulls some strings, gets the zombie into a fraternity, and starts to publicly date him, and no one really seems to notice or care that he's a zombie. The zombie boyfriend is basically like Bub from Day of the Dead, where he has a general idea what's going on, but he's still a zombie. Like, he knows he's dating this girl and it seems like he actually loves her, but he's just kind of stumbling his way through fraternity life and no one seems to care. Well, the thing is, the zombie boyfriend is not biting people because he was a stoner, so as long as he stays smoking, he stays chill, and he doesn't eat people. However, drama starts when the head of the sorority starts to get jealous that they're the new power couple, and she causes a little bit of drama trying to break them up, but instead, this causes the zombie boyfriend to snap for a minute, bite someone, and these new zombies are not as chill as he is. There just so happens to be an underwear fun run going past the fraternity while all this happens, and let's just say that's a bunch of new potential zombies, and things start to spiral pretty quick. I should mention while we're talking about the underwear fun run, the idea is that you take off your clothes, donate them to charity, and do a run in your underwear, but the two girls that are organizing it don't wear underwear, so they're going to streak through about 15 or 20 minutes of this movie. And that is what most people remember when they talk about the movie, is these two girls. But to be fair, they do bring a ton of life and a ton of energy to this movie. They're super poppy, they're super happy, and they run around and get up to all sorts of antics, and that really is the point of the movie, and it does it well enough. Like when the fraternity house has that initial attack, there's a bunch of crazy stuff going on. A zombie gets his head cut off, but another zombie head winds up on the body, and now you get a zombie running around with a different head. The zombies will chase people back and forth, banjo music will be playing. It's a bunch of wacky and stupid antics, but there are jokes in here that don't work as well. Like some of the lines the main girl has, "I'm looking for the hydrogen to my peroxide." That's not really funny. And then like when they start to develop a zombie cure, the first cure has a side effect, and it really feels like the movie becomes a old school YouTube video for a little bit. And yeah, man, that sense of the plot, a lot of the plot is like, hey, let's run here, let's run there, let's do a sequence here, let's do a sequence there. They have to go to the library for some reason. Well, to warn people, of course. And, oh, well, we're just gonna do a sequence in the library now because why not? Next, let's go to the nurse that looks like she's from the Blink-182 cover and get a few more sex jokes in while we're at it. So yeah, the plot does turn into something a little meandery. Sometimes there'll be a random joke that's not super funny, pops out of nowhere and distracts the plot for a couple minutes. And it also should be noted that these zombies are in no way scary. If people get bit, they turn, but that's really more of a funny thing in order to have a few more jokes. And a lot of the times the main characters will be able to stand in one place while the zombies are running around them, and they're never really in any danger. Like, we're not focused on the survival element. Yeah, I do wish the zombies were a little scarier, and it takes them a long time as they bounce from all these random locations for the nerdy science girl to finally think, hey, maybe I should try to do some science to help us all out here. I feel like we could have gotten there a lot sooner, but we were just wasting our time. And I won't say what exactly happens towards the end, but I got to a point where I thought, okay, that's a fun enough movie, but we're pretty much over now, right? And I looked at the play bar and we had another 20 or so minutes, and I'm like, what are we gonna do for 20 minutes? And we get this random out of nowhere, like poorly motivated villain that just prolongs the movie for a little bit longer, but whatever. For the most part, even though the plot is rambly, it does have that energy and enthusiasm, and while the jokes aren't always great, they're delivered again in a very enthusiastic way. So it's one of those movies that I'm like, yeah, it's not that great of a movie, but if you want some dumb fun, it very much knows what it is, and it does its best to deliver dumb, stupid fun. Sex jokes, zombie jokes, and marijuana jokes, they're not going to be the best, but they keep them coming, and this is a fun enough way to spend a lazy Saturday afternoon. Again, I don't want to over-recommend this one, but if you need something to chill to, this is fun enough. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see me talk about more movies kind of like this, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.